Looking back on my journey as a music producer, I often reflect on the things that I struggled with early on. I wonder why it took me so long to figure certain things out and understand them properly. Why it took all this time to make things really click. Which is why I wanted to make this, just for you, a What I Wish I Knew. Hey, if you're new to this channel, my name's Riv. I've been producing, recording and studying music production for almost 20 years. I want to share a few simple tips to help keep you motivated in the studio when you start your journey with music production. Nothing revolutionary, just a few things that held me up in the beginning and why I think they're important. So let's jump in. Number 1, you don't have to know everything. We all get lost on this one in the beginning. We think we have to be an expert when we start out. Music and producing is a lifelong journey with a lot of notches in the belt. And as you continue down the road, you'll find out why you made mistakes in the past and what made you better now. Nobody's going to make great stuff when they begin. You don't need to know everything in the beginning of your journey with anything, especially music production, and you're not going to. And I think that's really okay, and you need to remind yourself that that's okay. You don't need to be incredible at the start, and I want to share a little secret. A lot of the time, breaking the rules leads to progression within music. It's really cool in the beginning to make all these mistakes because those mistakes actually lead to the creation of your unique sound, which is what we're all searching for as artists, to make our own little niche. Number 2. Start small. Less is more. Small speakers, small desks, small studios, small budgets. It doesn't really matter. If all you have room for at the moment is a teenage engineering pocket operator, then that's awesome. It's totally fine to start small on your journey because what will happen if you expand too quickly is you'll get super overwhelmed because you won't know very well the processes of things in the beginning of your journey. And so starting small instead of just buying up tons of different things and piling them on your desk and trying to figure it all out is a way better strategy. Start small, really focus on honing your skills and your craft, and then expand after that. Number 3. Learn your limit. In the beginning, we want to cram all of this stuff into our tracks, our compositions, our productions, and what ends up really happening with that is you just overwhelm the production and usually it begins to just sound chaotic and messy. I think it's really important to not get hyper focused on 1 or 2 tracks and continue to build and change things in the beginning. I have a lot of friends who I've met in my life who start their journey with music production and work continuously for ages and ages on the same pieces. And what that ends up doing is just stifles their creativity because they're constantly tweaking so much within the one piece. Music is about space, about surprises and everything having its spot. The way you allow everybody to hear those elements is by creating that space through simplicity. Overwhelming your mixes, overwhelming your projects, just stacking tons of plugins on, that's not going to get you forward in the beginning. Quite often what ends up happening is it just gets messy and chaotic. Know your limit with some sounds. Don't move forward with just stacking things on if they don't really do anything. Number 4, there's no one way to do things. You can read and watch all these videos of people showing you exactly how to do this thing. But the reality is there isn't really one right way to do pretty much everything in music production. So remember, there is an optimal way most of the time, or a way that everyone usually does stuff, but that doesn't have to be the only way. Remember that your mistakes or the things that you did that weren't necessarily the right way or the way everyone else does them are opportunities to either learn from and learn what might be easier to do next time, or actually to focus on what you have done and realize, I actually like what I did there. I like that I broke that rule and I'm going to focus on continuing doing that because I think it's more interesting than doing it this other way. So just remember that you can find really interesting techniques out of doing things the wrong way, and that's how new music is made. That's how new sounds, new production techniques are actually founded, is by people making mistakes and going, oh, that actually sounds awesome. How do you think distorted kicks and the idea of like distorting your kick drums at the moment gained all this popularity? It's through mistakes, and sometimes these mistakes lead to trends, and sometimes they're actually like continue on further than a trend and actually continue being the standard way to do stuff. So remember, there's a standard there and there are rules there, but break them, have fun with it. And if you liked what you did, remember why you liked it and what you did that made it different from the other way. Number 5, one step at a time. Taking it one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, is gonna just ease your pain in this journey and make you feel better about yourself. Make some small manageable goals that are actually achievable, like this week I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna learn how threshold works on a compressor, or I really wanna learn how to EQ drums. These types of attitudes are going to lead to a more productive and a more whole-rounded approach in the way that you make music and focus on music production in general. So approach it like that. Approach it as little wins, little goals, little things that you need to do instead of looking at this massive picture. Don't look at the mountain and try to climb it in one step. Number 6, reference tracks are not cheating. Having a reference track is a really awesome way of knowing what you might be doing right and what you might be doing wrong in the mixes or the sounds that you're trying to achieve. A lot of people will talk about reference tracks being cheating and being like, I don't need to use them, I don't worry about them. But what ends up happening in the beginning is your mixes lose direction and they lose touch with what you actually wanted to sound like. It's not copying, it's not taking from others, it's just being inspired by a certain sound and wanting to replicate it. You don't need to rip someone's music off. You're just trying to listen to the aspects that you really liked about it that you want to implement in your own tracks, in your own studies, and in your own productions. Number 7, nothing compares to you. The idea of comparison and comparing ourselves and what we make to others is just a sad reality. We're all going to do it. We're all going to get lost comparing ourselves to things that we like and other people that we wish we wanted to be. It's a very normal process of not just artists, but just life and our human nature in general. You might not be the greatest producer ever right now, and you may never be, and that's totally okay. No one's music is going to sound the same, and no one's techniques, no one's process is going to be anything like anyone else's. Yes, you can copy as much as you want, but the actual reality is if you compare yourself too much, you'll end up just copying people too much and you'll end up sounding way too similar to other people. The reality is too much comparison is going to hurt you and stifle you. So yeah, just be focused on yourself and look inwards and try your hardest to do what it is that's beneficial for your sound and your process, and leave all the comparison behind. Number 8, let your ears rest. The concept of having a rest is really counterproductive to the modern work-life balance. The idea of resting seems counterintuitive, but actually resting your ears is one of the most important things to do in music production. Number 9, read the manual. One of the great things about music production is the documentation that is provided with pretty much every piece of gear ever made. 90% of what I learn from all of these pieces of gear around me comes from learning the manual. Reading the manual never ends. You'll never stop reading the manual, and that's the reason why pretty much every post asking for help ever has read the manual somewhere listed in the answers. So yeah, the manual is your best friend in my opinion. Number 10, the grind to greatness. The idea of being great or being an expert or getting to this pinnacle of music production is a great dream to have. That being said, the idea of greatness is very subjective. What makes people great at production or what makes people experts is a really subjective thing. People are great for different reasons in production and music, and it's an important thing to remember that there's no one way to get there. There isn't one way to get to greatness. Don't let the perfect get in the way of the good is a saying that I always think of. So before I finish, I just wanted to leave a note on our motivations versus our expectations. This video touched on this concept a lot, but I really just want to take that time to reinforce that our expectations should be lowered of ourselves in the beginning of starting our journey. We're really motivated to be really good, but our expectations shouldn't be trying to match our motivations. Our expectations should be down lower where we can actually feel really good about what we've achieved. Having small, achievable and manageable goals and realistic expectations are going to lead to more productive behaviors and ideas in your time as a music producer, and you're going to actually enjoy yourself way more. So yeah, I just wanted to leave a note about that. Our motivations and our expectations, even though it feels like our motivations and our expectations should be on the same level, just lowering our expectations a little bit of ourselves and being okay with just being okay. That's really important in the beginning. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment, like or subscribe if you really like the channel and its content. And until next time, have a good one.